9:13 a.m. Today's date, July the 12th, 2018. And I call this Weslaco School District Board meeting to order. Item number 2, establishment of a quorum. Let the record reflect. Present today is Isidro Nieto, Oscar Caballero, Andrew Gonzalez, and myself, Erasmo Lopez. There's a possibility that we will have Dr. Rodriguez join in on a telephone conference. He will be able to participate in conversation, but will not be able to vote since he's not present. But that, he has not called in, so that is only a possibility. Item number 3, opening prayer. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, the invocation will be delivered by Mr. Elias Trevino this morning. He is the Director of Bilingual ESL Education.
Would you be so kind to bow your heads and let's pray? Father, we thank you, Lord, for this beautiful morning that you've allowed us to wake up in health, surrounded by the love of our families and friends. We thank you for work. We are just blessed beyond measure. Father, we ask you right now to bring peace and healing to our community in the wake of all this flooding and the great damage that was caused, Lord, and just the heartache that many of our community is experiencing. We ask you to bring healing to their hearts. We ask you for all of our students, all of our staff that experience, Lord God, the loss of their homes. And I know, Lord, you have a purpose in all of these things, and you will provide greater than was their past. Father, we ask you, Lord God, to continue to bless our community, continue to bless all those volunteers that were able to help throughout this time. Without a doubt, we were able to see the spirit of just unity come together. Although we saw much heartache and much pain, we were also witnesses to just beautiful unity in our community. Father, I ask you for our superintendent, our board members, our administration. In the midst, Lord, of a budget crisis, you are the owner of all things, and we come to you, Lord, to give us wisdom and guidance, Lord, to just be able to do all the things that need to be done in this district. Lord, we're going to be careful to give you all the glory and honor, for only you are worthy to be praised. In the name of Jesus, we ask all things. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Very, very, very good prayer. Item number 4, Pledge of Allegiance, Texas Pledge. Dr. Canales.
Athletic Director Oscar Riojas will deliver the pledge.
Stand up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Well done, Coach. Thank you. Item number 5, awards and recognitions. Dr. Canales.
We have no awards and recognitions at this meeting.
I think we need to recognize all the people that helped during this difficult time during the flood, all the volunteers and all the associations that came forward. I know that it's not an official recognition, but I think we should still thank them.
Point.
Item number 6, public comments. Dr. Canales. I don't think, I got it.
Check.
Okay, nobody signed up for a public comment, so we'll move on to Superintendent's report, which is item number 7.
Board of Trustees, we were asked to deliver a construction report monthly. We do have Mr. Americo Garza who will present on 5 different construction projects, a brief update. And then we'll proceed with flood updates.
Good morning, Dr. Nales, Mr. Lopez, members of the board. I will be, as Dr. Nales mentioned, I will be highlighting on 5 of the projects that we have, but I'll be happy to answer any questions on any of the projects that you may have as well. And we do have this information available on our district webpage under our Weslaco ISD construction projects page for the public viewing. Our first project is the new Weslaco High School Fieldhouse. The architect is Gomez Mendez Science. The contractor is NM Contracting. And right now, they're preparing the site for the foundation. The pour of the foundation is scheduled for Wednesday, July 18th. And they're pretty much getting all the plumbing ready and all the electrical conduits through it, the trenching and the rebar, reinforcing steel and so forth in there. The selection of the colors, interior colors, and the brick is underway. I've had several meetings with the architect, Mr. Rudy Gomez, and Coach Riojas, Coach Mike Salinas as well, to select the flooring as well, the colors, and the, as I said, the brick as well. So that's underway. A mock-up wall is being prepared by the contractor, or at least the architect is working on that right now, for review by the coaching staff as well. The storage building.
Before you move on.
Yes.
I know you've got some setbacks, status, and you have setbacks on weather. As in regards to their schedule, how are they proceeding? Are they going along schedule, behind schedule, 2 weeks behind schedule, a month behind schedule, or how are they doing?
We're looking at approximately a month, Mr. Lopez. We're reviewing a change order that was submitted, from that utility line, the irrigation district's water line that was found out there, which I mentioned last month. There was a delay there. So we're working with a contractor. They submitted a work order. They didn't submit any days, and so we're going back and forth. Apparently, there was an error that they made in not requesting any days on that one. But because of the weather, that's an additional day. So we're trying to figure out, but an estimate is about a month out. And since you mentioned that, pretty much every contractor, every contractor has stated that the weather has affected them in some, in some form. I'm sorry?
Will they make up the time, or is there a plan to make it up?
They're trying to work as fast as possible, but they will, to protect themselves, they will be requesting days.
Okay.
Whether
Just make
it's
sure, on the future updates that you give us, that we have something in regards to the schedule as to the status, whether they're, whether they're on schedule, behind, or ahead. And you've got the setbacks, which we understand was the weather.
Right.
And I know that's not their fault, and there will be allowance of days, but moving forward, I want to make sure that we keep tracks of it, not get caught at the end with, well, we're 3 months behind.
Certainly, yeah. I can work on that, make sure we include the days or
Okay.
or how the schedule is being affected. And so again, in some, form, they were affected by the flooding and the rains, and whether the dirt got, wet and they needed to wait for it to dry up, materials being shipped in here because of the flooding that they couldn't get on time and so forth. But everybody pretty much stated that they were affected.
And I'm assuming the football team's not going to be able to utilize the normal practice field that they use, correct? Because I saw, I guess, part of the materials there the other day.
At this time, it doesn't look like it. However, if they're able to get that block in there and the brick and move all those materials from there, we could probably work with them to try to reduce the storage area that they're using there,
Okay.
the staging area.
You could possibly use some more of the parking lot. I don't think you use all the parking lot before school starts.
Right. Yeah, we can work with them on that. And again, the storage building, they have it in. The materials are in, so they're going to start construction of it next week.
Good.
Again, set back the weather, as it was mentioned before. Project cost at $3,004,000. The change order that I mentioned last week came in at $8,500, which is for that irrigation district line that they had to remove. And the total cost $3,012,500 at this point. The next project is the Weslaco East High School Band Hall. We are the architect is ERO Architects. The contractor is NM Contracting. We are having a pre-construction meeting today, this afternoon, and they should be ready to start next week. So they'll get going during this 2-week period that we're going to be closed. Setbacks, again, in this case, they haven't started, so there haven't been any. Project cost at $3,946,000. No change orders. Total cost, the same, $3,946,000. And substantial completion is scheduled for March 2019. The next project is the roofing that I'm presenting on. We've got Airport, Big Arza, Cuellar, and Weslaco High School. At Cuellar, we're doing the gym, the band hall. Weslaco High School is just the old band hall, or the K-wing, as it's now called. And Airport, the whole building. Big Arza, we're doing the gymnasium, the band hall area. And so at Big Arza, they're about 80% complete. At Airport, they're about 50% complete. And at Weslaco High School, they're about 30 to 40% complete, so they're moving along there. At Cuellar, they just started mobilizing out there, so they're still behind on that one. They're a little bit behind. But we'll be monitoring that. Again, setbacks to the weather. Project cost at $2,071,600. No change orders to date, and the total cost is the same, $2,071,600. Next project is the AMT welding and woodworking shops, and the AMT is the Advanced Manufacturing Technology Shop. The architect is Rick Ogden Figueroa Architects. The contractor is NM Contracting, and we've got at the AMT shop, which is located at the Kate Building. The foundation reinforcement is complete, so reinforcements had to be done to the foundation for the support of the machinery that's going to be coming in. Classrooms, the classroom wall is in progress, is being constructed as we speak. So that area is going to be divided into an instructional classroom and the shop itself. And at the welding and woodworking building, the half wall that's actually surrounding the welding shop and the storage on the south side of the building is pretty much complete. The classroom walls as well, they've already, or it's only one classroom. The classroom walls have come up, but the electrical and the air conditioning is underway as well there. The plumbing work is also underway. Coordination with Magic Valley has also been done as well for new transformers coming in. Again, setbacks due to weather. This one was minimal since a lot of the work is being done indoors in already buildings that we've got there. Project cost $686,500. Change orders none. Total cost $686,500. The next project is the pavilions and the restrooms. Pavilions are being constructed at Mary Hogue and Cuellar Middle School. The architect is Alvarado Architects. The contractor is Rigney Construction. The pavilions, the foundation is scheduled to be poured next week. From what I was told, on Tuesday they'll be doing Mary Hogue, and then they're looking at Thursday to be doing Cuellar as well. On the restrooms, they're working on a site preparation to get that foundation done, and they're expecting that to happen in 2 weeks from now. They're currently working with underground lines and any conditions that they've found that were not expected. Setbacks again, weather, and the cost is $1,130,000. No change orders to date, and the cost is the same, $1,130,000. And those are the 5 projects. Any questions?
You've got some more projects on further back.
Yes.
These have not been started,
No, they have.
all the other ones?
They have. Yes.
He's presenting 5, and then if you have any questions about any of the others, he'll be happy to
Yeah,
answer.
it's a long presentation. I can go through it. So
Okay.
we're just highlighting 5
So we'll
projects.
just
And
look at it and see if we got anything on it.
sure.
I think you should go ahead and let our public know, though, since you've got the floor, as to what the other projects are.
Okay. Sure.
So
I can.
if you'll proceed with the next project, and if anybody has any questions, we can ask. If not, we can just go
Okay.
breeze by.
So we've got the tennis courts lighting at Weslaco High School, Weslaco East High School. There was a delay on that one due to the weather. Shipment of the material for East High School was delayed. We've got the remodeling of the athletic facilities at East High School and Weslaco High School as well. And we're scheduled to start that construction next week. We've got the canopy installations that we've done at Ibarra, Roosevelt, South Palm Gardens, and East High School. And right now, the East High School is the only one pending. They're expecting to complete that within the next 2 weeks. We've got the parking lot additions, and they're underway. They're working on the curbs, and they're working on setting the footings for the parking lot lighting. And that, I'm sorry, the parking lot additions are going up, are being added to Silva and Gonzalez. Lackey Stadium scoreboard, we're working with the shop drawings with Tektronix, the contractor, and the vendor. And so they're expecting to be here beginning of August to start doing the site work already there. New security and fire alarm systems at Weslaco High School and Central Office. At Weslaco High School, they've been running the wire, so that's underway. Chemical storage building and aquatic center, also some weather setbacks. They're working on prepping the site for the foundation there. HVAC replacement, Silva Gonzalez Elementary and Joe Cabello Kate Complex. Shipment of equipment already started. There's not gonna be one shipment, they're doing multiple shipments, so we're already getting some equipment that should be delivered by next week. And security access control, that project is currently out for bidding right now, so it's under the CSP process. And that's for all elementaries, the security access control.
On all the projects that we have, I know some are critical for school start, and we don't want anybody roofing when our students show up.
Right.
Is there gonna be any problems with getting the roofers 100% complete and out of the way before school starts?
I don't foresee that at this time. They're working quite fast unless there's, again, weather issues that slow them down. But if the weather cooperates, we should be okay. They will be finishing up, when school starts, but hopefully it'll be already substantially complete.
Yeah, and really not just with roofing, but I'm sure there's other
Right.
construction going on that might interfere or could possibly alter some of the work at, some of the school things going on. So what I'm saying is that if you all thought about what if somebody's not finished, or what do we need to do to make sure that the students and the schools and everything's ready to go?
We're looking at that, Mr. Lopez. The schools that it could be affected, for the most part, would be Silva, Gonzalez, and Kate because of the air conditioning. So we want to make sure that we get all that in place and running, even though they may not be fully complete. So we're working with even the manufacturer of the equipment who's shipping the equipment to try to get that out here as soon as possible.
Okay.
So,
And all our work, Andres, I know that this is your part where you hire the testing labs for our parking lots that are going in right now. Are they running all the tests necessary on soil samples and caliche samples and concrete samples for the curbs and gutters, and also the concrete samples for our buildings?
Right now, the soil has been done, most of it.
yeah, they've started already. We've got two testing labs that we're working with, EarthCo being one and Robert Kistner being another one.
Okay.
And so the contractors are doing the due diligence and following up with requesting the testing whenever they get to a point where the materials need to be tested.
As the building owners, we hire the testing labs, is that correct?
Yes,
And then they report to the architect, to the construction company, and to us.
right.
Will the architect inform you if something is not up to standard? Or are you all supposed to, or is our office supposed to monitor that?
No, they are, to date, we haven't had any issues with it.
Okay,
I have heard from a contractor where the testing lab has told them, no, you didn't pass the test, so you need to continue. So we usually don't get the report until it passes.
until it's passed.
Yes.
Okay.
So we don't find out until.
But
if
our
anything
office is monitoring all the reports.
happens. Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
I got a question on the athletic facilities remodeling, Coach. Because I know, for example, at Weslaco East, I know we're remodeling the girls' bathroom and showers.
Yes, sir.
And that's the only one that's available there. I mean, what are we doing? Where are the girls going, or where are they gonna shower? And
Right, so a couple of months ago, we approved, our board approved to rent some facilities through Aries, portable facilities.
Okay.
I was on the phone with a gentleman this morning. All the contracts have been reviewed by Mr. Pettis. Mr. Sanchez, and we've been working together, so everything has been approved. They have all the paperwork. Right now, they're working on the scheduling to ship the portable buildings to Weslaco. We expect the buildings to be here middle of next week or end of next week, and in which case, the contractor has agreed to help us in getting all the utilities hooked up, water, sewage, power, and also dress them up with the ramps and skirting that the buildings require.
Is
So
that
we-
for both high schools?
No, sir, that was just only for
Just for
for
East?
Wesco East, yes, sir.
Okay.
And so these portables will house all of girls' athletics. So we have two classroom size, they're pretty big, classroom size buildings with one additional building that will include bathrooms and showers that will all be joined together.
Right.
That would be for the girls. And then for the boys also at Wesco East, because the whole building is going to get gutted. For the boys, it'll also include two portable classrooms with one portable bathroom and shower facilities for the boys as well.
Sounds good. I just wanted to, make sure that we get them as soon as possible, because I know there's a lot of kids out there running around.
Oh,
and-
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and there's no place to take a shower, but
Right.
thank you very much.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If
Coach,
I may add really,
go ahead.
really
Yeah.
quick to that, we are using one of our existing portables from the high school
Right.
for the offices of the coaches.
For the coaches.
So if you see that happening, that move should be taking place within this coming weeks that it's coming up.
Yes, sir.
Before you run off, one of the projects that I do not see here is B Garza, Lake B Garza. Ivan, can we talk about it or no? Lake B Garza, and I know it's not really Lake B Garza. It's really the B Garza, one of the playgrounds.
Retention ponds, yeah.
Was used as a retention pond.
Correct, yes, sir.
And I know that we've not finished getting all the football and soccer field
Correct.
prepared due to some of the drainage
Yeah.
issues out there. Yet, it served a very good purpose during this past flood we had. I don't know if anybody ever passed by there, but that thing was full of water and holding a lot of water, which I'm sure saved some homes out there. Anyway, but what I want to ask is that, moving forward, I know that there was you had made some comments about it not being big enough to really accommodate what we needed to do, and so my comment to you is that we need to check or get that thing going, because I know the city has agreed to
Yes.
assist us in getting that ready, and make sure that we get that thing to where it serves not only the district but the community surrounding us, and helps with flooding issues, which it did, and it will.
Yes, sir.
So make sure that we move forward on that and get that thing prepared and finished so that our students can use it and still serve our community as an overflow
Yes.
for floods.
So what we did, sir, we do have the two contractors on standby. They're ready to go. One gentleman is in charge of removing all the sprinkler heads so that we can save all the sprinkler heads that were installed. He's ready to go. He's been to my office a couple of times, but I've kind of been holding him back. And then also he will be in charge of the sowing of the grass, fertilization of the grass, putting the sprinkler heads back on, and then starting the water. The other gentleman he will be in charge of the actual laser grading. He's also on standby, and we just received paperwork from the engineer that was designing the whole plan to give him the.
Well, let's
the
get
levels.
direction from our legal department with Mr. Perez as to how we can proceed, and maybe meeting with the city before we start doing any work out there. I know that we have some agreement with them already, and make sure that we can maximize the best thing, or get the best bang for our buck in helping the community and doing the best for our students.
Yes, sir. We'll get
All right,
on.
thank you. I guess, go ahead, Doctor.
Doc, I have just one more question. I know today's y'all's last day, so thank you for a great year, guys. But who's gonna monitor all our contracts, all these contractors while they're working?
We have several staff members who will be
Okay.
coming in and out, and medical.
Yes,
Um,
I'll be
Sergio?
available, try to manage everything by phone, but we do have our maintenance departments and our engine management department will be around, so we'll make use of the personnel
Okay.
that are gonna be here. So I've had the foreman get involved as far as inspections go, also in-house inspections. So really what I tell them is, look, we're gonna inherit this. If they do anything that's wrong, then we're gonna have to fix it later, so make sure they do it right. So,
Okay, thank you.
Next.
So- So those key personnel won't have a vacation then,
No,
correct?
most everybody here in here is 24/7.
Split
So-
schedule.
In reality also, just for the public's information, all the critical construction work that is done, electrical, plumbing, and any lines, any structural components of the building are inspected by the city inspectors and then also by the architects. And they cannot cover, for example, if they set up, if they do electrical, they can't cover it up until it gets inspected. The same thing with plumbing. So we're good.
Okay, moving on to the flood update. I think we do we have the slides up? Can we advance them, please? Right, at the last meeting, we stated that we had about 2,100 homes damaged, 59 staff members were impacted by the flood, and in the most devastated areas of our city, about 2,270 of our students. We have an update on technology damage. The amount now is almost $100,000, $99,439. We have a list of facilities that we mentioned the last time that include FDR Roosevelt Elementary, Maintenance Department, Custodial, Transportation, Library Services, Warehouse Department, and Child and Nutrition Services. Transportation, the damage estimates are about $6.8 million plus $5,000 for remediation. We did lose several of our buses and also several of our Suburbans. The warehouse, we've estimated the damage, a total damage of 529,000 approximately. That includes vehicles and supplies. Our maintenance department, we estimate the damages at $500,000. Weslaco East High School gym is a little bit less than, well, we still estimate about $100,000. And then an update in FDR, Roosevelt Elementary. There's a slide here that Mr. Lopez earlier was referring to about FDR Roosevelt being in the low area. Can we advance the slide, please? And this is what we were talking about. As you can see in the slide, it sits lower than the level of the street. So far at FDR Roosevelt Elementary, undamaged contents, including teacher contents, are stored at Central Middle School gym. Teachers' personal items were removed. Electronics are still being evaluated by the adjusters. Non-restorable contents are being inventoried and disposed of. The continuation with cleaning and sanitation continues, and remediation work should be completed on July 18th, 2018. That's our estimate. The estimated damage is $5.8 million. We did learn that we sustained a lot of damage with the equipment in the kitchen, so almost everything, the cool storage rooms, everything in the kitchen and the area, the cafeteria, it's totaled. Estimated completion time, and this is from Gerloff, and we do have a representative here. Thank you for being here. Building A, and still anticipated before school starts. Building B, January to February of 2019. Cafeteria before school starts, except the stage area, and the library a half to 2 months after school starts. The plan for FDR Roosevelt, the teachers return on August the 15th. Students start school on August the 27th. We've shared with staff, and we are sending a letter out to parents today. FDR will not be ready for the beginning of the school year and may not be ready for the spring semester. So we have a parent letter, the two principals of receiving schools, and that's going to be Ivada and Airport. We'll be meeting with parents when we return in early August. We do plan to have staff and student and parent team building activities. The important things for us is we have several students who have lost their real homes and now they've lost their school home, that we create an environment, no matter where they go in Weslaco ISD, that helps them feel known, valued, and inspired. Because we are one team, we're one Weslaco.
Exactly.
So an update on the staffing plan. We did meet again with the faculty and staff yesterday. As you can see, there's a total, you can see the numbers of students impacted that will be having their home at Airport and at Ivada. on the list. So I'm just going to give you an example, like in first grade, we have 2 staff members, 2 teachers, and 51 students that will be housed at airport next year. At Ivada, we have a total of 8 teachers from FDR that will be moving to Ivada, and 142 students. The next slide shows a map of the areas that I talked about. We did look at the zones, where do the students live, what neighborhoods, and we looked at school capacity near their neighborhoods, where the children could go and the staff could go. So the top northeast corner of our district, those students are about 126, will be attending Ivada. And the 244 students that live near and around just south of Highway 2 will be going to airport. We have 151 other students that are out-of-district transfers. They're new to the district. They're zoned to FDR Roosevelt. They're grandfathered. They're kids who decided to go there from the very beginning, whether they live there or not, and are grandfathered, and new transfers. Most of those will be going to airport.
So the total for airport for next year is estimated at what, Dr. Canales?
574 plus another, about 890, about 825.
Now, that school is the same size as Memorial and North Bridge. What is the, what is the student population at Memorial? Memorial's at 1,000?
They're about a high 9 at peak 1,000. Marshall right now is in the high 900s, but they've been higher than that in the past.
Come up to the mic so we can get that.
I'm sorry.
Let's start that one again.
Okay, so currently, right now, this year, actually, the last 2 years, Memorial has peaked at over 1,000, 1,100. Margot has decreased this year to the high 900s. You know, it's reached maybe 1,020 kids. But I know that in the past, at full capacity, they go well over the 1,000 mark, maybe up to the 1,400. That was the biggest elementary that we've had.
Okay, but we're comparing Roosevelt, not Roosevelt, excuse me.
Airport.
Airport to,
Yes, and
Memorial.
so Mr. Aguilar and myself did a physical walkthrough of the building to make sure that it can take the additional students, and we feel comfortable. We've marked the available classrooms to accommodate these numbers, and so they do fit, and they've got room for growth as well.
okay, so again, what was the total number of students that will be at,
It'll be in the 825 range, starting first day of school,
is that with the new students
with
going
the
in?
new students.
Okay, so they're still under what?
Way under capacity.
I think at one time, airport was close to 800 students a few years ago,
Yeah.
capacity.
And so even taking on the additional students from Roosevelt, they still have some available classrooms if we're going to continue growing due to the out-of-district, promotions and any
Open
additional
enrollment.
growth. So we have room.
And Ivada similarly was in the low 500s, and we're getting about 126, so they'll be about
Yeah.
646.
Comparable to other elementaries in the 700, yeah.
And counselors?
Yeah, we have one that will be moving over to airport with the larger group. And Ivada is still okay with the allocations that they currently have.
Okay,
And so we are dispersing the staff with the students based on the recommended ratios by TA.
make sure we get word to the principal that if she needs help with the counseling, especially with kids that are being relocated to speak up and get help out there.
Yes,
so that-
Mr. Aguilar and myself met with both principals, both the receiving principals, and we have assured them that not only are we rerouting students and staff, but we're also providing any support that they need, and we're also rerouting the funding that goes along with those students. So they're going to have everything that they need, and that's what we're here for, to support them.
Okay, I'm looking at the map of the relocation of the students. Now, the way it looks here, the major population from Roosevelt, which was living around Roosevelt,
Yes, sir, it's the in-town section. We tried our best to keep the majority of the school together because, there's still so much that is unknown. And so we chose to keep the in-town together, and those are the students and staff that are moving over to airport. If you can see the top pink section, that is La Mesa subdivision. That is where we have identified the 142 students that will be closer to Ivada on mile 10. So that's the best scenario as a neighborhood closest concept that we could do. It'll help us with transportation, considering that we've lost our fleet of buses as well. So it's the best, that we can do right now, considering the situation.
So the majority of the population will be going from the west side of the Pablo Peña Park
Correct.
to the east side of Pablo Peña Park.
Correct, and it's all of the in-town. Another reason why we chose to split those two is because Sam Houston is kind of locked already. They don't have any additional room capacity. They do experience high numbers, but we don't have the room to give them additional staff. So we would use Roosevelt as the overflow campus for any additional new students that are also zoned to Sam Houston, which is all of the in-town area up to the west part of the city. So we're keeping additional room at airport so that those scenarios can be rerouted over.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure, at fifth grade or fourth grade, do some of those students walk home, or does everybody have to get picked up and taken on?
I'm not sure.
We do have transportation here.
I know, but are they allowed or not? They're not allowed. I don't,
Some of them.
They're allowed.
they are allowed? So in other words, if a student wants to, and I know that I would not allow, well, I used to walk home when I was in third grade, but things were different back then. So, but what I'm trying to say, is there a safe route for our children if they want to walk through the park without having to go all the way through the park? A straight path per se?
Well, if you think about the relocation, they're going to airport, so the Roosevelt students are still not really right in the Roosevelt area. They're a little bit more to the west. So I don't know, it's a longer, length for them to walk. So I'm sure that goes way beyond the 2 mile.
So, yes, Mr. Garcia, is it 2 miles past Roosevelt to the west side for that neighborhood to be able to be transported to airport?
Yes, it's a 2 mile radius all the way around, so that is further. So
Okay.
we should provide transportation.
Most of
from
them will likely
yes.
qualify for
Yes.
transportation.
Good, all right.
And the transportation will be picked up there at Roosevelt, or?
As soon as we get all this information, we'll plan, but we haven't really been forwarded any of this information, but we'll make it work.
The sooner, the better, the quicker we can get all the information out to the public. Because, I mean, it's just, if you have a lot of questions, you start like,
Yes, we'll be working throughout these 2 weeks also. We won't take a vacation.
that's where gossip and, well, I heard this and I heard that, and we need to get all the information that we can out.
That would be a good location to pick up the students in the morning. I believe many years ago at the old, over there where STC is, they used to pick up students to bus them to the different schools,
Sure.
many years ago.
We'll identify the areas and then we'll make it work.
Well,
And we'll put it out to the public.
Okay.
As Mr. Garcia mentioned, even though we're closing down for 2 weeks, we will be here. So we will be working on this information and getting it out to the right departments and
yes.
parents.
And in our letter to the parents says that shortly we'll send all the details. They'll receive a note from the receiving principal. And it also identifies Mr. Aguilar's email to contact during the 2-week break so that we can field the questions and get back as we need to. But we thought it was important to at least give them one contact so that they would know if they had any questions during the break.
Thank you.
And we'll be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So to close, total estimated damages are $13,752,605 from the June 20th flood. And
Now, is
this
that
an
number
estimate.
fixed, or is it still growing?
It's estimated, so it could grow. It's estimated, it could come.
Well, then I think we need to put estimate
Down.
or number to date so that we can know that it's,
Yes, and I see them talking, so there may be some changes as of maybe this morning.
Okay.
So we'll put estimated on there. Okay, that concludes the flood, and now quickly, we're gonna go through some preliminary STAAR results, and Mr. Aguilar is gonna lead us in that presentation.
Good morning, Dr. Canales, Mr. Lopez, members of the board. I will be going over the preliminary STAAR results for 2017-2018 school year. And what you have before you, you're going to have all the preliminary results that we have in all the STAAR testing grades in elementary and secondary. And we're going to be going over briefly what we have our performance levels there. So keep in mind that when we're looking at approaches, the state wants us eventually to all get to the 90%. At the meets level, they want us to be scoring at the 60%. And at the master's level, they expect us to be scoring at the 30%. So it's a 90-60-30 model. If you look right below the years, there's cut scores on where the percentage cutoff is at. So for example, if you're looking at approaches for 2018, it's a 53% where they're cutting off the score there. Now, everything that you see before you, everything in green is everything that we had increases on. So we were very excited, very proud of everyone, our principals' hard work, our teachers' hard work, everyone within our district, curriculum instruction. It takes everyone working together to show these increases. So as we move forward, we're looking at the approaches right now, but as we move forward, we're going to be discussing more of the meets and the masters, because that's what the state expects us, and that's what we expect within our district. And we've already continued those discussions through the year as we're discussing the meets levels with our principals when we do meet with them. And if you're looking at here, I'm going to give you a brief rundown. You're going to have all the campuses. We're going to go through the elementaries first, and then we're going to go comparison with Weslaco ISD, Region 1, and the state. So as you can see at the approaches level, and that's basically what we look at, we had greens all the way across, a slight dip in a couple. I do want to point out the campuses with the greatest gains. If you look at third grade reading, we had Gonzales Elementary with a 30 percentage point gain. If you look down on the bottom, we had a gain from the previous year. We had a gain of 9 points, 9 percentage points, so that's excellent. From the region, we had a gain of 4 points and a gain of 3 points at the state level, so very, very good gains there. If we're looking at math, same concept applies with a 90-60-30. Do want to point out the campus that had the greatest gain there. 17 percentage points goes to Ibarra Elementary, very good gain. You look at the bottom from Weslaco ISD, we had a gain of 4 percentage points in the region, 1 point. We slightly dropped at the state level there, but very good gains, and you see some of those gains moving from meets and masters. If we look at fourth grade reading, this was a challenging area. What was identified by the state was the reading, the writing, and the science. Reading, writing in fourth grade, and the science at fifth grade. However, you see the gains that we have there across the board. Even if it's not in green, some of them were either stayed the same or they slightly decreased. The challenges, as you can see, is if they're already scoring high, it's a little bit more challenging to see those larger gains. But I do want to point out in fourth grade reading, Roosevelt Elementary had a 19 percentage point gain. They did go up, significantly there from a 54 to 73. And as you see on the bottom, we had a 1 point overall from Region 1. Weslaco, we jumped up a couple of percentage points in the state as well. Fourth grade math, you see all the green. That's all the growth that we have. Coming down, I do want to point out Roosevelt Elementary had a 30% gain. They had the highest gain along with many of the other campuses that you can see that growth on there moving forward. And as you see Weslaco ISD at the bottom, we had a 6% gain in our district region. We had a 3% and a 1% overall at the state. Fourth grade writing was our challenge this year. And that's something that we've already been tackling as soon as we received our data. We've been meeting with our curriculum and instruction, going down everything. Dr. Canales has been very involved with us in our meetings. We've been breaking everything down, what we've identified, areas of concern and structure that we're going to improve. So we slightly dropped there. That was our main area of concern in the elementary. If we go to fifth grade reading, you see all the gains there on what we're looking at in the green. If we look at Weslaco ISD, you see the gains there as well as a region.
And we're ahead of the state and the region in this.
Yes, ma'am. So one of the good things that you're looking at there when you're seeing the meets and the masters, you see that all that is in green as well, and they're moving in that direction. So that's excellent work, that the rigor of the instruction is moving forward. And that's what's important that we're really focusing on. One of the biggest things is, if you can see everyone from curriculum and instruction here, as well as our principals, our teachers, we're all speaking the same language of accountability. It's quite a complex system, but once we get used to it and we understand the model, then it becomes an easier process. So everyone's speaking that language and they're becoming very comfortable with it. So again, the gains here with math, you see the 6% gains in our district, in our region. Very good gains moving there. Fifth grade science, I know was a problem at the state level. We had very good gains in the fifth grade science. You see all the green in approaches, meets, and masters. If you look at the Weslaco ISD, we had a 5% gain. Region 1, we had a 4% gain, and as well as the state, we did above the state level. Moving into the secondary, same thing, you look at the green. Moving forward, you see them at the different areas. And if we're looking at the green there, we had Central had a 10% gain there as far as sixth grade reading. As far as Weslaco ISD, we slightly decreased overall on the bottom percentages. If we look at sixth grade math, we look at a 19% gain, again with Central in the math. If we're looking at the campuses, a couple of percentage increase points on the bottom with our district and the region, stayed the same at the state level. If we're looking at seventh grade reading, I know there we either stayed the same or slightly decreased. Same thing with our percentages. But one of the significant points to look at, they do have the green for the meets and the masters, which means that the instruction is at a higher rigor level. So those are good signs as we move forward. If we're looking at seventh grade writing, they had the gains at Central Middle School and Cuellar Middle School. Cuellar had a 5% gain there. It was slightly below on the bottom, but again, you're seeing the meets and the masters moving forward with that. Those are good gains. Eighth grade reading, we look at that. We had Cuellar with a plus for 4 percentage points gain there, and a 1 percentage point at the bottom, slightly at the region, and we didn't have the data for the state there. Eighth grade math, same thing. We're looking at Mary Hogue, had a 5% gain. We increased at the district and at our region. We had a greater gain there. And again, you're seeing that trend with the meets and the masters, which is very good. If we're looking at eighth grade science, we're looking at the green, which is all the gains there. We had 3 percentage points with Weslaco ISD and pretty much stayed about the same when we're looking at the region. But good progress moving with our meets and our masters. If we're looking at eighth grade social studies, you see the gains there. You see the bottom. You had a 6% gain Weslaco ISD, 4% at the region, and 1% at the state. And here in eighth grade social studies, Central had a 10% gain there. If we're looking at algebra, you're looking at a combination here of both middle and high schools that we're looking at here. And if you're looking at Algebra 1, you're looking at 8 percentage points gain with CTE Early College. And then you go to Garza Middle School, they also had a gain, and you can see all the middle schools did very well. But again, keep an eye at the meets and the masters. Everything looks very good with that green. We're going again with a higher rigor of instruction. If we're looking at biology, Weslaco High School had a 3% gain points there in biology, and we had 2% overall, and you see the green to the right in the meets and masters. If we go into U.S. history, one of the things you notice that big increase from CTE Early College, you see a 38 to a 93. That has to do a lot with the reformatting with our retesters in 2017 and when our juniors tested this year. So the best way to look at that as far as growth, look at 2016 to 2018. That's going to give you more of an accurate number there. So you're looking there about 12% growth that you're looking from CTE. But you had a very good growth, about 9% growth overall in Weslaco ISD, and you see the green in the meets and the masters. English 1, you see the green up there at the secondaries on the percentage, as well as the district on the bottom, and at the meets moving forward. English 2 was very comparable to our writing in fourth grade, where we had struggles. CNI is closely monitoring this, working on it. We already have plans as we're moving forward. Slight drop at the district level there. So I do want to mention, I believe I did skip a couple of the campuses that I didn't mention in fifth grade reading. We had Ibarra Elementary at a 19% gain. In fifth grade math, Silva Elementary, 16% gain. In fifth grade science, we had Rico Elementary at a 17% gain. So very good gain numbers that we did see across. We're already tackling what we need to do to move forward, and everyone is working very well together to make sure. We appreciate the support that we have from our board.
Good report, long report.
Yes, sir.
A lot of good numbers. Good job.
Thank you.
I know that with hard work, they'll get even better.
Yes, sir.
You know, and it's amazing at all the information that now is compiled and put together, which I know years past, I don't think it was this much work. It's almost as if a teacher needs a secretary to get all her information put together. You know, I gotta hand it to all the teachers and all the employees on the district that, man, this is a lot of extra work and a lot of hard work for them to put this information together, which is much needed to help our students
Yes,
get
sir.
ahead.
And we make it very clear to our campuses that we're here to support them, and we're here to do everything that we can to make it easier for them on the campus. And we're continuing to do that. You know, our doors are always open and our support is always there.
Dr. Canales, great gains.
Yes.
Again, thank you to your staff and, of course, the principals and the teachers that work with our students, especially in the meets and the mastery level. You know, approaches, that's a given that students should be passing. But when you have students gains, especially in the meets and mastery level, that's very important. And like you mentioned, the rigor, very important. And then, of course, principals and teachers working together, that shows a lot in the district. So commend you and your staff.
Thank you.
And just, kudos to everybody, our principals, our CNI staff, people behind working the data, people working with early programs. We strongly believe in strong academics, excellent athletics, and fine arts. We want the complete program, and very, very proud of the work of everybody and the spirit of teamwork that exists, whatever it takes. Thank you.
And kudos to fifth grade math. I think they, in the mastery level, they had, at least 20%, everybody over. There was one school that had 18%, everybody else had 33% mastery, 40. You know, quite a numbers in the fifth grade math. Some of the other grades too, but that one stood out.
Very good gains, all the way across. Excellent gains there.
And of course, the middle school Algebra 1 teachers. Awesome job by the Algebra 1.
100%.
Yes.
Yes, excellent.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Aguilar.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, moving on to item number 8, consent agenda. I'll start at the left. Isidoro, do you have anything to pull?
Nope.
Oscar?
No, sir.
Andrew?
No, sir.
Okay, we have a revised one, which is
This one?
G.
item G.
Oh,
Dr.
yes.
Canales, could you explain what the
Yes.
revisions are?
The cost remains the same. The revision is the description of what this is. It's a Herman Methods at A and B instructional material, and it's to assist dyslexic students. And it's an educational toolkit, like I said, that will assist students with the characteristics of dyslexia from 3rd to 6th grade. So that's a revision, the description.
Okay, Ivan, is there any action we need to take on that?
No, I think you're okay, because it's just the grade level, it's increasing it by one grade level, so it's fine.
Okay, well, it is for some of our special dyslexic students, and that's good things to give for help for those children.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Andrew and a second by Oscar to approve the consent agenda as presented, along with the revision. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Dr. Canales, make sure that you send the appropriate thank you letters to all the donations,
Several donations, yes, sir.
and move forward. Okay, that takes care of that. Okay, moving on to item number 9, discussion items. Item A, interim financial report for the 10 months ended June 30th, 2018. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, no action is required for this item. We're just seeking your acknowledgement of the interim financial report for 10 months ending June 30th, 2018.
Yes, Dr. Canales, Mr. Lopez, members of the board, this is our report for the 10 months ended June 30, 2018. In the general fund, out of 173,354,000 budgeted, we have received 155,963,000. That represents 89.97% of the total revenues. I'd like to emphasize that on the local revenues, we had budgeted 26.4 million. We have already received 27,675,000. We already received more than 94% on that local taxes, which is helping us a lot in the budget. In the expenditure side, out of 175,391,000 budgeted, we have spent or encumbered 133,398,000. That represents 76%. That is about 7% less than the overall percentage will be for 10 months of the year. So all the functions are doing good. We made an adjustment to one function previous month, but right now we're okay on all of them.
Okay.
Any questions on that part?
The budget you just talked about is for last year, is that correct?
Yeah, the current,
The year is ending
Yeah,
right now.
the one August 31, yes, sir.
Okay.
August 31st?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, comments? All right, thank you. Item number 10, discussion and possible action items. Item A, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of proposal award for the Student Athletic and Accidental Insurance RFP number 18-07-41. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, our district purchases insurance to cover students in the event of an injury while participating in UIL sanction activities. This is not a requirement, it's something that our district has been doing, is that correct, for a number of years, in the spirit of supporting our students in case they were injured. We are recommending that you approve the student insurance services underwritten by the National Guardian Life Insurance in Zurich through Texas Insurance Service Center, the brokerage store, for the 2018-2019 school year. I believe we have a piece of information to add on this one, Mr. De La Rosa.
Yes, Dr. Canales, there was a typo on one of the totals under Proposal 2, and I do have a revised cost sheet for you. However, it does not change the recommendation nor the ranking.
So an RFP was conducted, a total of 4 proposals were submitted. The one we're recommending, the total is that the correct total?
No, that remains unchanged. The total for the recommended proposal was $491,290. The typo that was made was on Proposal 2 on the primary coverage. We had originally indicated a higher amount, but that is a corrected total at $501,930. So they would be, I guess, the third least expensive. So
we're staying with the same?
That's the current carrier that's in place, yes, sir. And they have been here for the past 3 years.
What's the difference?
The difference in cost?
What brought that up?
Going through the proposals again, I had noticed that there was a difference in the numbers that I had indicated here. So I had to make that correction.
It's still the lowest bid.
It is still the lowest bid. There's no change to the recommendation. That's correct.
But they were higher last year, weren't they?
I'm sorry?
They were
No,
higher.
actually, yes, they were higher last year. Yes, sir.
So how is this insurance going down when everything else is going up?
They want our business. But
But
it's
the
all,
the coverage is the same.
Everything is the same. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That's what you recommended, Dr. Canales?
That's what we're recommending.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion by Isidoro and a second by Oscar to approve the recommendation by administration to go with National Guard and Life Insurance for the Student Athletic and Accidental Insurance RFP number 18-07-41. Is there any further discussion?
Yes. Coach Riojas.
Yes, sir.
Coach, I know we provide this as a added benefit to our students, but can you just please make sure, and again, I don't know if it's Mike's office or your office, but this previous year, I got numerous calls on the steps on how to file a claim. I know if the parent has insurance, it's
There's a
their,
primary.
their primary, and this is secondary. But if we can please let them know, and if there's a network, however they gotta follow it so that we don't have some of the instances that happened this year where either parents were gonna be out of pocket. I know this company came through for some of the parents and
Yes.
helped out that didn't realize that there was steps to be followed. But if there's a sheet that, I know all our athletes, if you can give them a sheet so that they can give to the parents so that they know, so that they don't think, this is primary as opposed to theirs being primary.
Just like an information sheet, a factual sheet.
That's
that
all,
helps
that's
them
all I'm
understand.
asking, Coach, if y'all can just create something or ask the company if they can give you something on the steps on how to file a claim,
Yes, sir.
so that maybe we don't run into the same situation anymore.
Yes, sir. And
Maybe
if I
add to the
may,
website,
Yes, sir.
some information on the website. that
It'd
they
be
can
great
go
on the
over.
website.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be the easiest.
And if I may, normally what we do, this is part of what we already do. We have a beginning of the year kind of kickoff where we invite the insurance, the gentleman that's helping us with the coverage here in the valley. And we allow him to speak to the parents about the insurance. Parents have any questions, they can do that. And then our trainers, of course, our trainers are probably the very first line of defense to give the parents the right information so that we don't have the problems that we've had where a parent does not know that they need to go to their primary insurance before they use ours. But point well taken, sir, and we'll make sure that we try harder to do that.
And I just want to make sure that they're all okay to go to NAP under this plan?
Yeah.
It's the network, and
Yes,
they've been
sir.
here for 3 years, so.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, a lot of our kids, since we're here in the Mid-Valley,
Right,
they will end up at NAP in the event that there's an emergency.
sounds good.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item B, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of the proposals for consultants for special ed services physical therapy, RFP number 18-07-42. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we contract with vendors to provide needs to our special education students. They're contracted for 1 year with an option to extend a second year. We did release proposals for physical therapy services and received 6 proposal responses. There was a review committee who reviewed it, and the committee is recommending that the top-ranked vendor, Kid Care Therapies from Edinburgh, Texas, be awarded this contract. So we're moving to seek your approval for the proposal award for special education services, physical therapy services for students with disabilities to Kid Care Therapies from Edinburgh, Texas, and we do have staff here if you have any questions.
Nobody from Weslaco tried, or there's no?
Mr. Garza, will you come to the mic, please?
I can see that they're not the lowest bidder, but is there a reason? I mean, just the quality of services, or?
A couple of things. The criteria is weighted heavily towards experience here in the valley, and as you can see, a lot of the companies were located outside of the valley. But in
Outside
addition to
Texas,
that,
right.
it doesn't tell the whole story. We just put one price, which is the bulk of the service they provide, which is the direct therapy. But there's additional things, services that are provided that we didn't include, and I apologize for not including that. And I'll give you some examples. The completion of STAAR's paperwork that enables us to get reimbursed from Medicaid. Some of the services we provide, they don't charge us for completion of that, whereas the other companies would. Completion of ARD paperwork, they don't charge us for, whereas the other companies would. In addition to that, the updating of progress reports that needs to be done every 6 weeks, they don't charge us for that, the other companies do. So when you take everything into consideration, I think the price is going to be pretty commensurate between all of them.
Okay. Have they worked for us before?
It's been about 5 or 6 years.
And who did we have before?
Pardon?
Who was-
This past year was ABC Therapy. That was their first year. And they opted not to continue another year. The owner felt the profit margin wasn't to their benefit to continue. And then a couple of her workers left. And so instead of filling those spots, she just opted to say, hey, thanks, but no thanks.
Okay.
So at the, for this year, what is it that the current rate that we're paying? I know, you kind of averaged a $50 service per, is that a half an hour?
Correct.
So what are we currently paying right now?
It was $45. And if you look at what we've paid in years past, even going back 8-10 years ago, the prices have come down. It was $65 at one point, $60. So when we got to 45, that was quite a savings to the district. We saved approximately $40,000 this year. So even the rate at 50 is still lower, not than this year, but certainly what we had paid in previous years as well.
Is that your recommendation, Dr. Canales?
Yes, Mr. Nieto, it's our recommendation.
So move.
We have a motion by Isidoro, is there a second? Ivan, being there, not enough board members to, is the president allowed to do a second?
Yes.
I'll second the motion with Isidoro. Is there any further discussion?
Yes. And I guess I'm just trying to understand before I go ahead and vote.
Sure, I understand.
There's just such a big disparity, and even if you take away those from Florida, Georgia, and North Texas, and they're just 528 points, and the nearest one is 360. What set them apart that so many points were awarded to them?
Yeah.
And again, this is
Yes.
such an important role.
A lot can't come down to the experience in the particular area.
Okay.
Our region, they did a lot of work with a lot of school districts. And whereas one of the other companies that's local, they're fairly new. They're just barely starting out. And the other companies didn't provide us with references in the local area.
And you feel real comfortable working with them?
I do.
Thank you, Neil.
Is there any further discussion? There being none, I'll go ahead and take a vote on the approval of the proposal for the consultant for special education services, physical therapy, RFP 1807-42, going with the recommendation from administration to go with kid care therapies. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. C, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of the arbiter pay online system to pay sports officials. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, arbiter pay is the easiest and most reliable way to pay sports officials, allowing our athletic departments to electronically pay officials. It's a fully integrated electronic payment and reporting tool that significantly reduces the time and effort required to pay officials. There are several school districts in the Rio Grande Valley that have already implemented this form of payment, including Edinburgh, McAllen, Sharyland, and Harlingen. The Rio Grande Valley Officials Associations reported that they are happy with this method of payment. The transaction fee per official is $260 a day, and according to TASB studies, staff did look into that, it takes a school entity approximately $17 to produce a check for an official. So we
I'll
are
move to
recommending
approve.
to approve.
I'll second.
A motion by Andrew and a second by Oscar to approve the recommendation by administration to use arbiter pay online system to pay sports officials. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Coach?
Yes, sir.
Coach, roughly in a year, how much will this save us? Aside from all the headaches and the calls that I get that we never pay on time.
Well, did a little bit of math, looking at our transactions throughout the year and also checking with school districts north of us that are already doing or using arbiter pay that are similar to our size of schools. So what I'm being told is that roughly there's about 1,500 transactions per high school and about 700 transactions for the middle schools. So that averages out to, $1,500 worth of transactions. So that averages out to about 580 actual transactions. So roughly for Weslaco ISD, we're looking at an estimated cost of about $2,200 to run this program. And that would be, high schools and middle schools. Right now, if you take those transactions and you multiply them by $17 roughly, time is money, right? So from the start of the athletic office, starting the paperwork, all the way down to cutting a check, and then postage and mail and what have you, creating a vendor number when they're new, W-9s, we don't have to do any of that any longer.
Will the coaches or the wherever the referees be paid directly?
Yes, sir.
Is that what happens?
Yes, sir.
How fast do they get paid now?
As fast as we want them to.
And who will be handling our end of the deal? Will it
Okay.
be through your office or
Yes, sir.
will it be through,
So the process is not going to change much, other than we're pretty much eliminating accounts payable. Andres, you can chime in when you want to. We're eliminating accounts payable, we're eliminating Andres, we're eliminating Balde. All they're going to do is give us the money, okay?
What is
So-
normal turnaround time currently?
Currently, our business office requires 2 business weeks to turn around and pay.
So you
Our
want-
volume of pay for officials is very, very high, officials and game workers.
Andres, this will be okay as long as you deposit the money. It frees up you and Balde to concentrate on other things in the
Yes,
district?
sir. Yes. And athletic office as well.
Okay, sounds great.
Oscar, you have a $2.60 a day.
A day, yes, sir. So basically,
What's
the
a
way,
transaction?
so basically explaining that means that if I'm an official and I come and officiate 3 games in Wesco, because it's, maybe we're playing a tournament.
Right.
For that day when we pay that official, it would be $2.60 to run,
Okay.
for that official to get paid. If it's a 2-day tournament, like a Friday, Saturday, we're allowed to use the $2.60 for the both days. So it's not $2.60, $2.60 for both days, so. Most of the officials are gonna be here one day and then come back and, so.
I don't know exactly how this works, but as far as an official, do they get assigned or do you pick them? I
No, sir.
don't think you get to pick them.
So that's a good question, Mr. Lopez. So the official assignment is not going to change. Officials, we already have programs called ZebraWare. There's different programs out there that officials have to sign up to. But this program, they sign up through a program called Arbiter One. Okay, they are the ones that upload the schedules that we provide them. Once they're uploaded into the system, now knowing that we are Arbiter pay district, we will notify them with an official letter, so they know that if they're going to work for us, they're going to have to be assigned through Arbiter One, which 99% of the officials in the valley already are because of schools that are already using it. So the officials know, the officials like it because we get to review paperwork the next day. It starts with the secretary, or actually the game administrator, signing off on the officials. Secretary checking that yes, they were there the next morning. Then that gets released to our office. We can hit pay once we review, and the officials get paid. And so it's a really fast turnaround. We don't want to pay them every day or not clicking every day. We're going to probably set up a trend where we're going to pay like maybe Wednesdays and Fridays so that we can catch all the ones that that all the games. There are games every day in Wesco with the exception of Wednesdays and Sundays.
What's the normal turnaround right now on payment to an official?
Depends on who you ask now.
2 weeks, we've gone 4 weeks at a time.
4 weeks.
Even a couple of times,
means
5 or
6.
6, because of some delays that we have. When we have information that's missing, we have to return it
Yeah.
or ask for it. So that delays it. We have some up to 6 weeks.
I
Yes,
think
we have.
it benefits everybody.
Yes, it benefits everybody.
That includes middle school
it's-
officials too, right?
Yes, sir. Everybody.
It's a new thing with electronics, and it saves money. How much are you all thinking y'all are gonna save on this?
For that $17, you said transaction for versus the two
I guess
sixty.
the most important thing is they're gonna get paid faster, because I get a
The
lot
main
of
thing,
phone
they're
calls
gonna
on
get
this.
paid faster.
I get all that.
Looking at the numbers, to answer your question, Mr. Lopez, looking at the numbers that I have worked on the last couple of days and just going by what I am being told and informed by other districts, is, you know, we're looking to save about $15,000 to $20,000 on just time, you know, from our staff.
Hours from staff.
Hours from staff.
Right, and that's per year.
Yes, sir.
No brainer.
Technology, okay?
No offense to you, it just frees y'all up to do really
Yeah.
Yes.
what y'all gotta take care of, so.
All right.
Vámonos.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion by
Thank you.
Andrew and a second by Oscar to approve the arbitrary pay online system to pay sports officials. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item D, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a budget amendment in the local maintenance fund for the purchase of school buses and vehicles that need to be replaced as a result of the floods that occurred on June 20th, 2018 and thereafter. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we're recommending that you approve this budget amendment in the local maintenance fund as requested. And again, it's to increase the budget for local revenues and current property taxes and interest revenues account, to transfer funds from the fund balance assigned for facilities or other needs, to increase the expenditure budget accounts for the purchase of school buses and vehicles that need to be replaced due to the floods that occurred on June 20th, 2018 and thereafter.
Okay. Andres,
Yes, sir.
the money, it's coming from what we have for construction and for what else?
Yes.
And other needs.
Right now, we have, from the funds that we have been earmarked but haven't been touched yet for construction, we had $4.9 million for Roosevelt Elementary to build a new wing. We had $360,000 for the billboard, $500,000 for a construction project that we haven't spent any on yet. And we have $2.5 that hadn't been assigned to anything, to any projects. So we're taking some money from there. Also, we're increasing the tax revenues on local taxes by $1 million. Like I said, we have collected more. And we also have $500,000 on interest that we're increasing. $535,000 on interest. So that's how we're generating the money. But we also, sorry, we're trying to, at the next agenda item, to do a resolution to borrow money, like we did last time for construction projects. Started looking into the process of borrowing between $8 to $10 million that we can pay for up to 10 years, because we need to pay, we need to get the buses. So by
No.
getting the money, we'll replenish the fund balance when we get it.
I mean, as far as the buses, it's clearly understood that we need to get those ordered and get them on the road and get them down here.
Yes,
So
sir.
we can be ready for school, and we will be ready for first day of school.
Yes, sir.
The question is, and the comment I want to make is that basically, we had a rainy day, and you're not dipping into the rainy day fund that we have right now.
No, we still have $17.5 million.
Right. And I know that we've been increasing our rainy day fund by $500,000 a
Every
year.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, given that we had this difficult time that we're going through right now, we're still going to try to do that again and increase our rainy day reserves.
Yes.
Good job on finding the money and having the money available for us to get the buses going. And we'll talk about that loan if we need to get it going so that we can proceed. And I know that you'll be getting some money from the insurance.
Yes, as
Will
well.
you be putting that money to pay that loan?
Well, we'll use some of the money for that, yes,
And bring it down?
yes.
Okay, well, right now, we're talking about the buses and moving forward. Is there any further discussion?
So move.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, a motion by Oscar.
Second.
By Isidoro and a second by Andrew. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, just so we can have on record, how many buses did we lose, Mr. Garcia?
Or how many are we gonna order there?
How many did we lose and how many are we ordering?
Yep,
We're ordering 63 right now,
okay.
50 regular and 13 special ed buses.
We had a total of 97 buses that were operational. 64, all of it was considered a loss, but only 64 we're getting money for, from what I understand. If I'm using the correct terminology, it would be Mr. La Rosa, but 29 we're gonna keep but out of those 29, we're getting 8 to 12 that will work so that we can operate. And we already have 8 for sure, secure, and then the 63 that we're gonna be getting in.
So with those amount of buses, we'll have enough buses to begin the start of the year, the beginning of the
Yes,
year?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And with this 29, we're still gonna keep working to get more operation, because we always need spares and what have you. But we, with those 63 and the 8 for sure that we're gonna make work, we're gonna be good.
So we'll have
So-
58 regular student buses?
From what
and
we're getting in,
13
we're getting
special?
in 50 regular route, 13 special needs.
And then the 8 that will already be operational?
Yes.
So
Those are
58
regular
Regular,
buses,
that's what I'm
yes.
saying. So 58 regular and the 13 special need?
All our special needs are gonna be new, yes. all of
Okay.
them, yes.
Sounds good.
But out of the 29, you're still gonna fix a couple more, right?
You guys
Yes,
try
we're
to
gonna
get
work
more
on
out
it,
of it?
yes. Yes, we're gonna keep working towards making them.
Well, thank you and your staff out there. I know Mr. Lopez and I were able to go out there and all the hard work that they're doing, so kudos to you and your staff.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Any more
Any
questions?
further comments, questions?
So Andres, how much are we gonna get in reimbursement from insurance,
Mikey?
estimate?
On the insurance, I don't know, Mike can help.
That is still
Estimation.
pending. I did
He
speak
doesn't
with they recently completed their surveys last Thursday, and
Okay.
I'm in contact with the desk adjuster, and so they're currently working on that.
Will you provide the board with updates as to what the payout or what payback is gonna be,
Sure,
percentages?
as soon as we get it, I'll most share it
The
with the
year,
board.
and what I wanna know is a year, mileage,
Oh, yes.
and how much they're gonna give us for each bus that is getting totaled. And, moving forward, we have that information.
Sure, as soon as I get it, I'll pass it along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any further discussion? No, sir. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item E, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a resolution expressing intent to finance the expenditures to be incurred by the Weslaco Independent School District. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, Mr. Andres Sanchez is here to answer questions. So basically, this resolution is part of a process to borrow between 10 and 15 million for the emergency purchase acquisition of items listed above, and those include vehicles, including but not limited to school buses, delivery trucks, full-size sport utility vehicles and maintenance vehicles, furniture and equipment for the district's administrative, educational, operational facilities, and cleanup, repair, rehabilitation, and equipping of district facilities due to the June 20th, 2018 flood.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Andrew and a second by Oscar. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Andres, this
Yes,
is
sir.
also for our white fleet,
Yes, sir.
all our maintenance units that we lost, the Suburbans, all of that
Yes,
as well?
Yes, sir.
How many total units, Mike, did we lose? Just so that the public is aware of why we're
I have them right
doing
here.
the things we are.
The maintenance white fleet, there was a total of 31 vehicles. We lost about 17 of them, so we have currently 14 that are operating, so those will be part of the package. As far as the transportation white fleet, all of the Suburbans, we had about 15 of them were deemed a total loss, so we need to order those Suburbans to have them ready for student activities as well. And I think one technology truck, I think, was affected, and a couple of the box trucks is the food service
Warehouse.
vehicles.
Okay.
2 of those as well.
I see also you have fuel tanks for the transportation department?
Yes, sir, those were our fuel station, the pumps were damaged because they were underwater,
Right.
so we're gonna need to replace those.
Are they underground or above
They're
ground?
above ground tanks, but I'm
Oh,
talking about
okay.
the actual pumps.
Right. Oh, okay, the pumps.
And I'd like to add that we sent out a request for quotes from all the dealerships in the valley, pretty much, and several outside the valley for vehicles. And we got some quotes this morning, so we'll be providing you a report as to what we got. We're trying to get the vehicles that are available already. Some usually 90 to 120 days to get them, to see what we can buy now so we can help the departments mobilize faster, like the maintenance that run out of sharing vehicles and it's hard for them to get to places.
On vehicles such as the white fleet, is the district allowed to rent, for example, an enterprise, rent a fleet of 15 Suburbans or vans, whatever we need? All ours come in?
We could if we had to,
If we had to.
but this is what
So-
we're projects going first.
So there's really no,
Rush.
I mean, yes, there's a rush, but there's really not a concern that I can say that, oh man, we're not gonna get them. We can rent if the need arises.
Yes.
If need
Okay.
arises, we can.
Okay, on this loan,
Yes, sir.
have we, is this the only alternative there is? Are we, I know that we're borrowing the money outright, as a district, as, the federal government, the state? Does anybody provide any kind of special, disaster loan?
We're working with the city through, the FEMA has declared a disaster area, however, it's only on an individual basis. They have not set anything in motion for public entities such as ourselves and the city of Weslaco. So as soon as that happens, we're going to apply for FEMA assistance with these expenses,
Okay.
as soon as it becomes available.
Okay, have you all followed up with any agencies that, and you know, I really don't know what else to say other than, this is your line of work, so, is this the normal path to take, or is there an emergency assistance by anybody?
Not that I'm aware of. The only public assistance that I'm aware of is through FEMA. And once, like I said, once they declare the disaster for public entities, then we'll apply for it. But as far as anything from the state, I mean, we're dependent upon ourselves to insure ourselves, if you will, and which we have. But there's, of course, FEMA is there to aid with the expenses that are not covered under insurance. So,
Andres, I'm looking at this item, and Dr. Canales also.
Yes, sir.
Have you all consult, and I know Dr. Rivera's not here, so I can't ask him, so I'll ask you, have you all, he is the board member in charge of finance with, as far as, as a board member being in charge of the finance with you all. Have you all consulted with him and talked to him about any other ideas that he might have?
No, I haven't, sir.
Okay, will you all do that?
Yes, we'll be happy to do that.
There's a couple of other items that we're working on, but I don't want to mention right now because we still don't have complete information. But maybe we can do it throughout by next week, or I can send an email if I get information. We have a couple of items we're considering as well.
Okay. Now, how important is it we approve this today?
Well, the parties this is the approval of the reimbursement resolution. At the next meeting, we'll like to have a presentation from the financial advisor as to what, how the process will go with the loan and how we plan to sell, like we did last time, to select eventually who's going to help us sell the loans, the maintenance tax notes. But
Right.
this is to approve that whatever money we spent, the 60 days prior to today, we can get reimbursed from the loan when we get it.
The reason I'm asking is because I would like to get Dr. Rivera's input on this item, either before we vote on it, or to make sure that you all get his input on it as you go along, and that he's in agreement due to the fact that, not only because I want his input, but I want his expertise and his experience on the item. You know, Ivan, can we stipulate, or should we hold back, or how can we do this?
If I may say, this item does not tie us to borrow the money.
Right.
It's just that if it gets approved later on, we already approved the resolution to
Okay.
get reimbursement when we get it.
To use
Yes.
the money from in the
Okay.
future.
There's
Let's
still
go.
room for you to go and speak to Dr. Rivera.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
just make sure that we
Because we're
get
not,
that done.
you're saying we're not approving the loan?
We're approving the resolution that when we get the loan.
We're just approving
eventually,
that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I had mentioned 10 to 15 million, it might be just between 8 and 10. So we're not tying to any loan amount yet.
Okay, I just want to make sure we get his input on it.
Yes, oh yeah, definitely. Yes.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay, next item is item F, but, we're gonna take,
There's only 2 items left.
you wanna go?
We'll
Okay.
wait.
Item F,
Speed it up.
discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval, to set up a meeting date for a public hearing on the proposed budget and proposed tax rate for the fiscal year 2018, 2019. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we're recommending that you set a meeting date for a public hearing on the proposed budget and tax rate for fiscal year 2018, 2019 on Monday, August 20th, 2018 at 5:30 PM. School districts must follow the notice and hearing requirements of Education Code, Section 44.004 for adopting a budget and tax rate. So we'd like the date to be Monday, August 20th, 2018, at 5:30.
Okay. Have we pulled the board?
That was my question. I didn't know if I could ask that yet.
No, we didn't. This is the same date that we have selected every year, a week after the regular board meeting.
Okay.
And the reason we do that is because on July 25th, the appraisal district will release the values, certified value that we need to use for the final calculations of the tax revenues. And we cannot do it on the regular meeting because it's too tight on the schedule. We need to advertise at least 10 days.
It's too tight on the schedule.
Right. So we'll have about a week to work on when we get back from the break.
Is there an alternate date?
No, well, later, the
Well, and
27th, but usually,
The reason it needs to be approved ahead of time is because they have to put notice in the newspaper.
Right.
And advertise it that way, so that's why it's important to get it predetermined well ahead of time.
Is this the first week of school? Is that the first
That's
Monday?
No,
not the
the
first
Monday
week for
before.
students, right? It's the Monday before the first day for students.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Oscar and a second by Isidoro to approve August 20th as a date set for a meeting on the public hearing on the proposed budget and proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2018, 2019. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item G, discussion and possible action to ratify the purchase approximately 53 buses as a result of damage associated with severe weather in June 2018. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, at the June 28, 2018 meeting, you approved an agenda item to ratify and approve the procurement of materials, labor, and other services as needed for the immediate repairs of the district facilities and/or equipment damaged because of the rains on June 20th, 2018. And you had full authority to do this under the Texas Education Code. We're now recommending that you approve to ratify the purchase of approximately 53 school buses ordered on Thursday, July 5th, 2018 from two companies, Longhorn Bus Sales of Houston, Texas, and Thomas Buff Gulf Coast GP Inc. of Houston, Texas. We needed to order the buses then rather than after the July 12, 2018 board meeting to ensure that we have those 53 buses by the time school starts on August 27th, 2018.
And this is the monies that you had talked about before that we had, there was like 2 million that was not allocated to anything.
right, yes, that is what I mentioned about. I wanted to have the budget amendment, so
And
it
then
gets
some
approved.
other projects that we haven't
can-
started.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what we did here is that, I guess as soon as the storm happened, we authorized the superintendent through the previous meeting to do whatever she had to do to get the school back in order. Correct. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes.
and that
Okay.
indicated that we didn't have to follow the normal procurement process.
Right.
Going out to bid, advertise, wait
So-
for all this stuff.
What we're paying for the buses, is it in line with what we've paid before?
Yes, yes. One of the things they have now seatbelts, so that's about a $10,000 more cost per bus. We used to pay 90, 91. Some came at about 93, some came at 1 or 2. And that's all we had available, so we had to go with it.
Okay, so,
And we will have seatbelts for all our buses now.
The new ones have seatbelts, yes.
2018 and on
okay.
models have to
Ivan,
happen.
have we had legal review the purchase orders? And I know that going forward, can we do that?
Do what?
Have him review the purchase order or that y'all give out, the prices that we're paying on the buses, make sure that there's no, I mean, I know that
It's
there's
up to- it's up to
certain
them.
things that happen in instances like this that I would hate for somebody to be taking advantage of the district at this point.
The cost, we monitor the cost, so the costs are consistent with, there was no gouging.
Okay, I just want to make sure that our legal department also checks it out and make sure that the district is in a good position and not getting taken advantage of. And I'm pretty sure that we're not, but it is a big purchase. We've purchased buses before, but we always buy 10 or 5, not 50,
Yeah,
you know.
we had discussed it with Mr. Perez, and he's the one that suggested to put the agenda item. He had looked at the information already, so I put it in just to inform the board and ratify the actual purchase.
Okay.
We already sent another order for 10 more buses that we got after the agenda got posted, so we couldn't change it. Now, since it says approximately 53, can we change it to actually 63?
Just bring the other 10.
Or bring the other 10
We'll do
back
it.
next month.
Just let them review what we're spending on them. I know that there's laws that protect people, when storms like this happen from getting, overpriced. And I just wanna make sure that everything's on the up and up and nothing like that's happening to us. I doubt it. I think that we're in good shape, but yet we owe it, as stewards, to the school to protect their money and move forward with that. That being said, buses have been ordered.
Yes, sir, 63 total.
And-
Okay.
Yeah, and we waited to order until we verified exactly what was needed. And the
Yeah.
team did a great job in getting that information and working with the adjusters to make sure we had it in writing.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Did we make a motion?
Okay, did we make a motion?
I'll make the motion. to
Second.
approve.
Oscar. Who made the second?
I did.
Okay, a motion by Oscar and a second by Andrew to approve ratify the purchase of approximately 53 school buses as a result of damage associated with severe weather in June 2018. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay, closed meeting to, item number 11, closed meeting to discuss personal matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. Item number 1, employment of personnel. Item 2, resignations. Item 3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, Texas Government Code 551.074 and 551.071. Item B, discussion regarding acquisition of real property, Texas Government Code 551.072. C, consultation with attorney regarding A, pending or contemplated litigation, B, a settlement offer, or C, a matter in which the duty of the attorney of Weslaco ISD under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of Texas Government Code 551.071. Time now is 10:50, and this board is going into closed session. Time is 12:16, and we're moving on to item number 12, reconvene open meeting. Item A, possible action if necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. Before we move on, Mike approached me. There is some information regarding one of the items, and I'd like to ask this board to revisit item number 10A. And to do so, we will need to take a motion and a vote to revisit item number 10A. And I'd like to hear that information, whatever it may be. Doesn't mean that we're going to change anything, but we will get an opportunity to revisit this item.
So move.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Isidoro and a second by Oscar to revisit item number 10A, and that is the Student Athletic and Accident Insurance RFP number 18-07-41. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, we're going to revisit item 10A. Mike, you just approached me. You had some new information on the item 10A, and could you share that with the board? Whatever
Yes,
it may be.
Mr. President. The recommendation that was initially made prior to Student Assurance Services, the question that was posed to me was Knapp Medical Center in their network? This company has been with us for the past 3 years. There was never an issue with Knapp being in the network. A great number of our students do utilize that facility. So during the break, I went to go back and confirm it, and I learned that as of sometime in June, there is no active contract currently with Knapp Medical Center and Student Assurance Services. So I did speak to the principal during executive session, and he did say that yes, but he was very adamant that something would be in place by August 1st. So to re-answer the question that was posed to me, I was acting on the information that I had at the time. So the new information that I did receive is that as of right now, Knapp is not in the network for Student Assurance Services. So I felt I just needed to share that with the board since that was a major consideration and point that was brought up.
Yes, it's very important that our kids be able to be seen. I know that we have fought to keep NAP in all of our, what do you call it, your pools or?
Network?
Networks, being that it is our hometown, hospital and that, they're right here, of course. So,
The other three proposals, it says Proposal 2, Proposal 3, and Proposal 4, they're not ranked in any particular order. The two companies we've done business with before, Proposal 2 and Proposal 3. The last one, we've never worked with them here in Weslaco. So I have recommendations or
what are you recommending now?
the board can either table this item and wait till August 1st, which is the effective date of the policy, and then revisit it sometime later on in the anticipation that they may enter into the recommended company, or take other action and award it to the next responsible bidder.
Who, do you know any of these that have NAP in their network?
According to their websites, Proposal 2, 3, and 4, those companies, NAP is in their network. Proposal 2 has been here before. The people in the Proposal 3 as well has been here before. And Proposal 4, I'm not familiar with them. So I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm not saying that they're bad. I just said I have no experience with them. Proposal 2 would be the less expensive between 2 and 3. So if the board wanted to go in that direction, I would feel comfortable with the Proposal 2. But that's up to you all.
Okay, so are you recommending any company at this time?
If you're going to rescind and move, I would recommend the Catlin Insurance Company under Global Benefits Group, Student Insurance Services.
So if the board at this time does not, or wants to change, or not go with who you awarded earlier in the meeting, you'll first need a motion to rescind the prior action of the board before you take any action to do anything else, whether it's tabling the item or whether it's awarding the item to some other insurance company.
Okay. So Mike, they've told you that they would try to revisit with NAP or?
The principal did advise that they are in negotiations and
Yeah.
that he expects to have something very soon, but as of right now, there is not a contract in place.
Well, we've been through this before, and our employees have suffered due to the fact that there was no agreement with NAP with the previous health insurance. And, so I'll just wait for a motion, whatever the
I'll
board.
move to rescind the
I'll second.
proposal.
So you're moving to rescind the previous action of the board, which was awarding it to the Proposal 1.
Correct.
Okay, so there's been a motion and a motion by Isidoro and a second by Oscar to rescind the previous action taken by this board earlier today at this very same meeting. Some new information has been brought forward due to the fact that this company that we had previously approved does not have a contract or an agreement with NAP Hospital.
Correct.
That's correct.
So that is why we revisited this item and we voted and it was approved to revisit. At this time, we have a motion to rescind our previous action on the Student Athletic and Accident Insurance RFP number 18-07-41. Is there any further discussion? Okay, so we're gonna vote to rescind our action. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay, so now we've rescinded our action. At this point, your recommendation?
To either table it and wait, or we can assign a new company. And if you do like to choose a new company, then I'd recommend the Proposal 2 from Global Benefits Group.
And again, I'm gonna ask the same question I asked earlier, so, I just wanna make sure that NAP is in there, right? And, so,
I have an email from the principal of the company indicating that yes, and I also do have a printout from their network directory that lists NAP Medical Center there.
and I just asked that question because, it's important, a lot of our games are played here in Weslaco, and if there's a serious injury, we rather they take them here to Knapp Medical Center rather than
And
Valley
Coach,
Baptist.
and, I'm sorry, and Coach can attest to this, that the majority of the people of our athletes do go
Okay.
to NAP.
We did check with our athletic trainers, and about 85, almost 90% of our kids go to NAP and/or also visit Dr. Sandra, which is here in Wesco. It's closer for the kids and for the parents. And so he is a resident of NAP now, so a lot of the services are done here in Wesco and through NAP for our students.
I move to approve proposal number 2 as recommended.
I'll second.
Okay, so there's been a motion by Andrew and a second by Oscar to approve the second bid, or second highest bidder on the student athletic accident insurance, and that would be, who is it, Mike?
The primary coverage is Catlin Insurance Company, the administrator's Global Benefits Group, through Student Insurance Services.
Okay. So that insurance company.
Yes.
Let me see if I have that so I can read it out.
You can read it out.
There you go. Okay, so we're going with the Catlin Insurance Company, Global Benefits Group. And all the coverage is the same?
Yes, sir.
Everything is the same? Okay, you made a comment that Sanders was their primary doctor. Are you sure that Sanders still practices at NAP?
Dr. Sander is, his office is here in Wesco now, and the majority of our kids go to him. A lot of our kids do. We don't direct them to go there, but they choose to, since he's local. There's a lot of other doctors in the network, but
Yes.
they
Okay.
choose to.
And that's
use
the
him.
reason I'm asking, because I believe that Dr. Sanders has moved to another hospital.
One and one.
Yeah,
Right?
it's-
The brothers.
They're brothers.
One,
yes.
one moved, one stayed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, just to make it clear, and I know that really the doctor, the example you used, was the facility, the one that we're gonna need in case of an emergency.
Correct.
You know, so that's really what we're looking for, is the emergency care for our students and the fastest
Yes.
available care for them that we can get them.
Yes, sir.
So, that being said, I have a motion by Andrew and a second by Oscar to go with Catlin Insurance Company, Global Benefits Group. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And that is it on that item 10A. So now we will visit the items that we discussed in closed session. Item A, Personnel Matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. Item number 1, Employment of Personnel. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, move that you approve the employment of personnel as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Isidoro, second by Andrew to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item 2, resignations and no action item. Item number 3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. Texas Government Code 551.074 and 551.071, also a non-action item. Moving on to item B, discussion regarding acquisition of real property. Texas Government Code 551.072. Dr. Canales. Is there a motion?
Yeah, we had a discussion about the acquisition, and so I believe one of the board members will be making a motion
Okay.
based on our discussion in closed session.
Is there a motion?
I move to authorize legal counsel to proceed with the acquisition of real property as discussed in closed session.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Isidoro and a second by Andrew to proceed as discussed in closed session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item C, consultation with attorney regarding A pending contemplated litigation, B, a settlement offer, or C, a matter which the duty of the attorney to the Weslaco ISD under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Texas Government Code 551.071. That is a non-action item also. And then my favorite part, item number 13, which is the adjournment. Especially today, right? Adjournment, so. Time is 10:29 and this meeting is closed.